watching. Today's video is going to be a makeup tutorial on this look here. It is my go-to makeup look recently. However, I did want to do it using a bunch of the new products that I've picked up recently. So it's kind of a first impression slash haul tutorial slash makeup tutorial, if that makes sense. Mainly featuring the new Covergirl Nudes palette, the new Smashbox Primer Oil, new Becca Aqua Luminous Foundation, the new Clarins Instant Light Lip Primer, the MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lipsticks, new Smashbox lipsticks, some Morphe, some NYX. There's a ton of different ways you can customize this. You can definitely pair this with a bolder lip, or you can pop some false lashes on if you do want a little bit more drama. But yeah, so if you'd like to see how I created this tutorial, as well as my thoughts on the products that I use, definitely keep watching. Now, I do want to use mainly new products that have launched or new products that I've purchased recently for this tutorial, but I don't really have a new eye primer or anything with me, so I'm just going to use the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. It's funny because I hated this product when I first got it, like probably 2 years ago. I think I didn't really get how to work with it, and I don't necessarily think it's like the best primer on its own, but I just think for a quick kind of everyday easy step, it's really nice. It just kind of neutralizes everything, evens out the eye. One thing I do think is really crucial with the paint pot though is you do need to set it with the powder. So to set that really quick, I'm just going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Powder. I'm just going to use the sponge that it comes with and just lightly press that right over top. For eyes, I'm going to be using the new Covergirl TruNaked Nudes palette. They are super buttery and creamy, and they're also really nicely pigmented, so this is pretty similar to the Urban Decay palette. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if you are looking for a very inexpensive alternative or you're on a budget, you know, these are a really great option. I'm gonna start off with this shade right here, and I'm just gonna be working that into my crease as my transition shade. It's really nice, like neutral brown, and this is the Sigma E35 tapered blending brush. I'm gonna go in with this slightly darker brown here, and I'm just gonna be putting that in my outer crease area just to add some definition. Just slowly depositing a little bit more color at a time. Then I'm going to be taking the Morphe M507 brush with that same brown. This one's just a bit smaller and more tapered. It's a little easier to kind of carve out. And then I just go back in with that blending brush I was using before, and this is the MAC 217. One thing I like to do with pretty much any eyeshadow, just to make it a lot more like pigmented and last longer, is to use a cream shadow base. So I'm going to be using the Bare Study Paint Pot by MAC. Just a really nice kind of shimmery champagne tone. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've used this in a video before. And I'm just going to smooth that along the lid, particularly on the areas where I'm going to be applying a shimmery shade. So especially with these CoverGirl eyeshadows, they're super pretty, but I do find they can fade pretty quickly. So using a cream shadow underneath really helps them last longer. A good alternative to this one would be the Maybelline Color Tattoo, and they have new ones in a stick, which I haven't tried for myself yet, but I heard they're pretty good. This shade right here, Champagne Pink, and I'm just going to be pressing that right over top. These eyeshadows are very finely milled, so I do find if you pick up too much product, you will get fallout. And then I just like to take that blending brush, blend things out, clean up those lines. I actually want to take some of this shimmery brown right here. It's a really gorgeous color, and I'm just going to be applying that more so to the kind of outer corner as a blending tone. Just adds a little bit extra dimension. Looks really pretty. I just like to blend it in between those two shades, like where the lighter tone and the outer shading meet is where I like to apply that. As you can see, it adds a little bit more of a sort of gradient ombre effect, if you will. As you can see, you do get a little bit of fallout with these, but that's the reason why I always like to do my eye makeup first. I just don't think it makes sense to have your foundation all nice and pretty or your concealer all done and then do your eyeshadow. And I use this to kind of create the rough outline, and then I just trace over it with liquid, and it makes it a lot longer lasting but also much easier. I just create kind of the rough line first on both eyes, and then I trace right over top. So I do love gel liners, but to be honest, I never really find I get the smoothest line possible. So that's why I prefer to use them kind of as a liner base. I know it's pretty high maintenance to use both a gel and a liquid liner, but that's just me. So I just like to correct it with a Q-tip. Okay, I'm going to stop there for now, because otherwise I'm going to obsess over it and end up with raccoon eyes. So while I'm kind of waiting for that eyeliner to dry, I'm going to go ahead and highlight my brow bone area, and I'm going to be using one of the new Morphe shadows. This is the shade Perfection. So it is a single eyeshadow. Comes in a little package just like this. So I'm just going to take it on a flat brush. This is from the the Urban Decay Naked palette. I also love this color in that inner quarter. I think we're going to try this relatively new Maybelline mascara. This is the Falsies Push Up Drama. Because I do have quite a thick winged liner and I don't really feel like putting falsies on, I'm going to try and build my lashes up more. Overall, it definitely adds drama, but it's a little clumpy and messy for my taste. I'm going to apply a nude crayon to my waterline. So I'm just going to take 2 drops of this oil. You're going to lightly massage it in your fingertips, and then you're really going to press it into the skin. You really only want to apply like maximum 2 to 3 drops. I think 1 to 2 drops is ideal. So with this product, I definitely find it's best when you can let it absorb and sink into the skin for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Now for foundation, I am going to be using the brand new Becca Aqua Luminous Foundation. I've used it a couple of times so far and I am really impressed with it. The formula itself is beautiful. So the way that I like to use this is I like to shake it and then actually dispense the product on the back of my hand. So to initially apply it, I'm going to be using the MAC 130 brush. Give me a little bit more control and applies it in nice kind of sheer layers first. And then I just go in with my Real Technique sponge. So you can see just kind of half of my face so far. It gives really nice light natural coverage. Definitely kind of smooths out the skin. Covers minor imperfections and redness, but it leaves a really nice luminosity to the thing. You do want to be careful of with this foundation because it is so watery. So I do not recommend applying it straight to your sponge because your sponge will absorb all of it and it will be very wasteful. Very active acne, I probably wouldn't recommend it just because it's so illuminating. That can kind of accentuate any imperfections on the skin. For concealer, I don't have a new one. I'm contemplating getting a couple of new ones, but I want to use up what I have first. So I'm using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and I'm going to be using this just because I do want a tiny bit extra coverage in these areas. So I like to first tap the concealer lightly in with my finger. This just really helps warm up the product and blend it into the skin. And then I just like to go in with that sponge and blend it out. I really like using the flat end of the sponge. I just help it blend the product into your skin without feeling like it's wiping it away or just absorbing it all. But I'm going to be using the CoverFX Illuminating powder today. This is a loose setting powder and I used to be obsessed with this and then for some reason I stopped using it. Lately I've really been liking it to set my under eyes, but I don't let it sit for too long. So I apply it almost kind of like a baking method, but then I do brush it away almost immediately. Another product I've been obsessed with recently are the Smashbox Step-by-Step Contour Sticks. So what I find definitely works a lot better is the method that they suggest, which is applying it almost in X's. Then I really like to blend it out with a flat top brush. This is the CoverFX Liquid Foundation brush. If it's not perfect, that's okay because we're going to keep blending it. And of course, I cannot live without my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. This is the liquid formula in the shade Opal. I love to just tap it on right here. Oh my god, like do you see that? For contour, I did just recently pick up the NYX High Definition Blush in the shade Taupe. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my MAC 161 brush. Then just to help blend that kind of contour together, I'm going to use the Stylist Stay All Day Bronzer. And I'm using the MAC 135 brush, so I'm actually going to use that Morphe shadow that I used earlier. I'm going to use a little bit of that as my highlight. So again, that was in the shade Perfection, and the brush I'm using is some old BH Cosmetics brush. I don't actually remember what. Remember, we don't want it to look natural. We want to be visible from outer space. Before I move into blush, I actually want to use this new Clarins Instant Light Lip Perfecting Base. This is a brand new lip primer. This launches in April. I don't think it's out yet, but I will list the information below. It's basically a really nice, like, smoothing, velvety lip primer. It hydrates, but it doesn't create a super glossy finish. It is more of like a velvety matte finish. Not matte in the sense that it's drying, but just in the sense that it's really like smoothing. For blush, I am going to be using the Becca Flowerchild Mineral Blush. I just got this a little while ago, and to be using that, I'm so excited. I'm going to be using the Morphe E4 brush. This is the blush brush that Jaclyn Hill raves about, and it's been sold out for so long. They did finally restock it, and I had to snatch it up. As you can see, I have used it already. She's absolutely right, like, it's perfection. So Flowerchild is a really nice kind of peachy pink blush with a little bit of shimmer. Just going to sweep that. Along with that, it's a beautiful, like, healthy, glowy blush, and it does have a little bit of shimmer. And then I'm just going to quickly clean up my blush and contour here. I'm just going to use that same Cover FX powder I used before, and then I'm just gonna brush that away pretty much right away. And as you can see, it leaves you with a much more defined. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of mascara on that lower lash line. And I'm going to be using the MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lipsticks. These are pretty new. These are basically their version of a liquid lipstick. For liner, I'm just going to go with a nice nude liner. This is the Lise Watier Nude Waterproof Lip Liner. Now for the liquid lipstick. This is in the shade Lady Be Good. It's a really beautiful nude. I'm gonna let that dry, and I didn't want to go necessarily with this warm of a nude, so I'm actually gonna mix it with a little bit of a new Smashbox lipstick over top. So Smashbox just recently revamped their whole lipstick range, new hydrating creams in their range, and they also have their brand new modern matte lipsticks. These are probably one of the best matte lipstick formulas I've ever tried. They're very smooth, very buttery, and they are matte, but they're not a super drying matte, so they don't flake, they don't peel, they don't feel like disgusting, they don't give you butthole mouth, you know what I'm talking about. My favorite one is in the shade Stylist, which is a really beautiful kind of pinky mauve. Last but not least, some MAC Fix Plus, and I'm just gonna give my face a liberal spray with this. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely thumbs up if you did, and I will see you next time.